Checkity, checkity.
Peter Michaels is already humming Christmas songs.
All the something.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
That means you're already listening to them?
Influenced by it somewhere.
Where?
Because I'm not.
You did? Are you? I found that this year I had a vision of the start of Christmas music. And that vision is that people were waiting to press play while the last dying sound of the Remembrance Day trumpet faded. They're ready to go.
Yeah, 100%.
Ready to go.
Some people don't even wait for that last note to finish that trumpet, and they're ready to.
So what do you think?
Not
Do
me.
you think November 11th is a little early for Christmas music?
Well, you're asking the wrong guy, because I think December 11th is a little early for Christmas music.
So what is your Christmas music philosophy then?
Like personally?
Yeah.
Never.
Never. You
Never.
don't enjoy any Christmas songs. There's got to be at least one that you like.
I can stomach like Tom Petty Christmas.
What did he do?
What is it? Christmas All Over the World? Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's Christmas All Over the World. So there's a Petty one that's okay. The Pogues. I mean,
That's Fairy
the
Tale
Fairy
and
Tale and
Christmas Time or
yeah,
some
yeah,
shit.
yeah, which isn't. It's kind of a different side of Christmas. The White Buffalo has a Christmas song actually.
Okay. Probably.
So there. Okay, so
Just
maybe
just one?
Just one.
What about Paul McCartney's?
Yeah. Ding dong ding.
Okay. All right.
You? Is there anything?
No, there's definitely some that I like, but I don't need to fucking hear it for 3.5 weeks.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I don't get it.
I used to love growing up outside of Toronto. Q107 was the classic rock station. I used to love having that on in the background because, at least in that genre, as a kid, I thought the music was kind of.
So you would have heard
entertaining.
that Tom Petty one would have been on there for sure.
Probably, yeah. And there, I don't know, 16 Springsteen songs that all sound like the same Christmas song, right? Yeah, there's a couple. That Macca song was on air a lot. But yeah, no, it's too early.
Yeah, and
early for
I'm
me.
not a total Grinch. You're right. Christmas Eve, throw Christmas tunes on or whatever, but
Some people consider that very late, though.
oh,
you're missing
for sure
out
they
on
will.
the-
But here's it's completely divulging off a topic, but why do we need to hype up a holiday one day for a month and a half?
Yeah.
Like it puts unrealistic expectations on everything. It's just, I don't know. I get it. Some people love being in the season for as long as they can.
Yeah. It almost makes you feel like everyone on Earth celebrates the same holiday, too,
Yeah.
which is a really strange.
And why don't we
that's
do
what I
it
struggle with.
for any other holiday?
I don't know. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we'll get there.
One day.
I did see what is Dave Grohl doing with Christmas? He's doing Hanukkah songs.
I think this is like the second, maybe third year in a row that
So for
they've done
the-
it with his producer, which why can't I think of his
Greg
name right now?
Kirsten.
Greg Kirsten.
So
right.
for the entirety of Hanukkah, which I think is 12 days, or is it 14 days or something?
Isn't it 8 crazy nights?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't base my my holiday knowledge on an Adam Sandler cartoon. I actually haven't seen that movie, but he does a cover by a prominent Jewish musician.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Is it always related to Christmas, though?
No.
Okay, it's just celebrating.
It's just yeah. Because have you
Jewish
seen any of the
creators.
ones that he did? Like I think they did Train in Vain this year. I had a buddy that sent me they did Lisa Loeb's Stay.
Okay, I don't even know
and
what
I
that
forget
song
which
is.
one of it's like a
80s.
Lilith Fair 90s,
Oh,
late
okay,
90s
okay,
kind of.
okay. Oh, okay.
But they death metal the hell out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I think this is the second or third year in a row they've done that.
And you don't have those aren't going straight on your playlist, even then, eh?
I think I've read about it, but I did listen to the Lisa Loeb one.
Have you always been like that with Christmas
Yes.
songs, or is it just since you worked in radio?
Oh, yeah, like I'm an idiot. Like I mean, obviously John Lennon's Happy Christmas
Mm-hmm.
gets a fair amount of
Mm-hmm.
play, but yeah, no, I've never been a big Christmas guy.
Do you consider Imagine a Christmas song?
No,
No, I
not
feel like
even
some
close.
people.
Some
might.
people definitely do.
Right. Yeah. Just the sound of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
sound
Well,
and the
yeah,
message.
I think that I don't hate Christmas music. I would, based on this conversation, I'm willing to bet I may appreciate Christmas music a bit more than you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I also spent a long time playing it in like elementary and high school bands. You would always do a Christmas concert,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're in choir or
Yeah.
in the band or whatever. I did play Christmas shows with friends, like actual, not just la 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 stuff. We used to do a lot of covers of this band called Los Straitjackets, who have a wicked Christmas album, instrumental, but just like sweet, like
And originals at all, or
they might
they
have
just
one
put
on
it-
there, but they're mostly doing like almost mariachi spin on Christmas
I
music.
can get behind that.
It's
maybe.
fast. It's
Yeah.
upbeat. So I do quite enjoy that quite a bit. But yeah, beyond that, it's slim pickings.
Which is really difficult in my house because my wife throws up Christmas everywhere.
Yeah, you guys go hard on decorations.
Oh yeah.
For Halloween, Christmas, anything else? You guys do major Easter decorations?
A little bit. Nothing super crazy. Valentine's Day, she usually puts up a couple little things.
Yeah.
It's minor, but Christmas and Halloween
are the big ones.
Halloween's more my
right,
influence, and Christmas.
So you have a tree up already?
Oh God, the tree's been up since.
And it's a plastic tree?
Yeah.
Always? Have you always or ever done a real tree?
We once you start having kids,
right,
and pets, real trees are gone.
Just too busy or
way
dangerous?
Too busy, dangerous, all the above.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm a purist when it comes to trees,
and I preferred it that way. And we used to do the old. Out here, we'd go out west.
Yeah.
You'd find your tree, chop it down. We used to do that all the time, and I have not missed it that much.
Interesting.
It's just way easier.
Well, it's such a weird thing where I remember sometimes we would go a little late in the season, and then the tree picking, the tree farm is like real.
But I was just so you would have to go to an actual.
Yeah, we go to a
farm,
tree farm
right?
and
there's
then
really
chop it down and. Yeah.
Okay, so they do have they'll grow trees specifically for that. Okay.
Yeah, you go through. I don't know. Usually there's lots of.
It's
snow.
not a lot. You're not going to a tree lot. It's an actual.
That
outside
changed.
the city.
We used to go outside of the city, grab a tree, chop it down, find a good tree, chop it down, blah blah blah. Then they tie it up. They put it through that machine and tie it up with the string. You seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, damn, IKEA's got a great selection of real trees in their parking lot. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Maybe not out here, but yeah.
They come with instructions?
No instructions.
No instructions.
Just really nice
put the tree
trees.
in the planter and.
Yeah. You didn't have to build it. You just drove up to the IKEA parking lot.
Was it a Swedish fir?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not a tree man. I don't know much. Do you have any ornaments that make noise?
Oh yeah, tons.
You got a Motley Crue Christmas ornament?
I don't believe there's a Motley. There is some very good friends of mine make me a white buffalo one last year. It doesn't make noise, but we do have a vacation, like the movie Vacation, not Christmas Vacation.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually the original National Lampoon's Vacation of John Candy and Chevy Chase sitting in a roller coaster.
Oh.
And then it plays the audio of them doing the roller coaster.
Okay.
And then I've got a ton of Beatles ones that play music.
Right.
Or do some different things.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they're always making noise, or you gotta engage it.
They're turned off.
Okay. Protect.
Some of them are censored, but the dog's going by it every 2 minutes. The cat basically lives in the tree.
Oh, okay.
While it's up.
That's kind of fun.
Meh.
Now, what about Christmas movies or specials?
Is this where I say Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie?
Oh, interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Just one of them?
Just the first one. I can't remember if it starts
centered around Christmas,
or it's centered around Christmas time, but there is a big shooting in a Christmas tree lot.
Oh,
I can't remember if that's the opening scene in Lethal Weapon or.
Times haven't changed all that much. Crazy. So okay, but now Lethal Weapon. That's kind of not a serious Christmas, but like, is there Christmas programming happening on a screen in your house right now?
The classic cartoons my wife will put on. Sure.
They're just going.
They just go on a little bit of a loop.
The Burl Ives specials.
Yeah, the old Rudolph. What's the Grinch That Stole Christmas? That movie gets shown quite a bit. Actually, remember
the movie?
The movie,
like
the
Jim
Carrey
movie.
one.
Okay,
yeah. But what was the? I loved it. The flick that came out last year was Mel Gibson, where Mel Gibson played Santa.
Oh, the Bad Santa movie.
But it's not called
Bad Santa. Santa fuck shit up, something like that.
Santa fuck shit up. He did. Walton Goggins plays a hitman who's hired to kill Santa, who's Mel Gibson, who fights. What the hell is it called?
That's two.
Fat Santa, Fat Man.
Fat Man. Yeah, that's two Mel Gibson Christmas movies we've mentioned. For a man who probably doesn't love Christmas all that much.
Have you got anything that you throw on? Any traditions? Anything that?
I mean, movie-wise, no. I do love Die Hard, but I don't care if it's a Christmas movie or not. I don't know. I mean, I used to love the Santa Claus growing up. It's funny, but that's Tim Allen and Mel Gibson that have been mentioned. Is this just douchebags go to make, that's where they have to go in the end, is to make Christmas movies?
Do not judge us based on
our transgressions, our opinions. We're gonna play Santa and everything's gonna be all right.
No Home Alone for you?
Never home. Oh no. Yeah, I'm a Home Alone 3 fan.
Oh, it was Macaulay Culkin in that one? No,
nope.
That's the one without.
That's why it's so good.
Okay.
It's funny because I often troll people by saying that Home Alone 3 is the best Home Alone, and people get very upset. You know who Roger Ebert was, right?
Yep.
You know who else agrees with me?
Roger Ebert.
Roger Ebert, because he's dead now, right?
What was the other guy's name?
Ebert and I don't know.
Other guy.
Yeah, if you look at his Home Alone 3 review, it is miles above the reviews he gave to Home Alone 1 and 2.
Huh.
So
I've seen none of them.
Anyways, Scarlett Johansson's in Home Alone 3. No big deal.
Okay. Well, now I'm all of a sudden interested.
Early role for Scarlett Johansson. Anyways.
And would you watch the remake? Because there's just a reboot of it, right?
I don't
what's the point?
I don't care.
Why? Who's asking for that?
You know what? It's funny because I'm not watching Christmas movies, but this time of year is kind of the year when a lot of movies start coming out, when they're making their push for award season.
Yeah.
So I did, yesterday I watched The Power of the Dog, which is kind of a movie that's gotten some buzz. I don't know if it'll do anything, but it's pretty cool, 1925 Montana, cattle rancher type story.
What's it called again?
The Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog. All
Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst. Very good. Yeah, it was pretty good. A little strange, a little slow and moody, so not for everyone.
Sounds like you.
But yeah, exactly. No, so that's what I'm thinking about is all the movies that I get to watch in the next few weeks because the streaming services are starting to put them out for preparations.
I had an aunt, and that was their family tradition. They went to a movie every Christmas day. That was their thing.
I remember a buddy telling me that he was probably at the height of his anti-religious leaning.
Yeah.
And I don't think he remembers it this way, but how I remember it is that he made a deal with his parents that, hey, if you're going to drag me to this house of God on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or whenever, I'm going to drag you to my fantasy, which is they went and saw a movie. And I think it was True Grit.
I think the one time I've gone to a movie on Christmas was the remake of True Grit.
With Jeff Bridges and
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Which was a Christmas Day release.
So maybe that's a good Christmas movie then. Why did you do that then? You would have had kids at the time.
I really wanted to see it.
Cogburn? Cogburn, sorry.
Why the hell would I? Because is that 10 years ago?
At least, yeah. Maybe 12.
Yeah, because my kids would have just been like little tornadoes at that point, so I probably just wanted to
go by yourself
for a couple hours. I went with our mutual friend, Jamie Rankin.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I think his son Connor would have came along to that as well.
Wow. And you did it on Christmas Day?
100% on Christmas Day.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I want to do that someday. Why not?
All right, so this is kind of our meandering way into episode 35.
Yes.
Of The Road to Stage. You can follow, share, subscribe.
Please. We're here in the Communal Creative Studios.
It is the giving season.
It is the giving
season. That's the least you could give us.
We're not asking for money.
Nope.
We're not asking for presents.
It's just a click.
Yeah, click.
Like, subscribe.
Like and subscribe the Communal Creative Studios YouTube channel. It's been an interesting week seeing the Spotify Wrapped. Because it is the first week of December, people like to look back on the year. And everyone and their mother have been sharing their top played songs of the year, which I don't remember it being this case in the past, and I don't use Spotify, but it shows you what percentile you're in for your being a top fan, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So people are like, oh my God, I'm in the top 0.1%, that seems like a huge number.
That's
right?
stalker. That's restraining order territory.
And then I saw someone post one where it was 0.01.
Oh.
I think it was 0.00.
Yeah, that's
0.01. That's a lot more, right?
That's embarrassing.
What was yours? Where are you at?
Not there.
You weren't 0.1%?
No, honestly, I was 0.5. So I'm good.
Wow.
I think I'm good.
Damn.
I'm good.
I'm
still at a nice little distance.
Okay, interesting. Because I gotta wonder. It's not actually happening because Spotify would probably never do this to their content providers. But it would be funny if they use this as a way to provide bands with a list of potential warnings. Warning fans, like, hey, in this market, you might want to keep an eye on
Watch out for that one.
This stalker fan waiting at the merch table for 6 hours.
So I'm not on that list. The 0.5 is
I think
where's the cutoff?
You've escaped
0.01 is
you've escaped it.
That's a little.
But you knew you had to.
Yeah,
you knew you had to make a change. Is that okay? So let's talk about it. Your Spotify, your number one was again.
The White Buffalo.
The White Buffalo. So you're in the top 0.5% of White Buffalo listeners. In the past, last year it was White Buffalo as well?
Probably the last 4 years
Oh, wow.
at least. It's
Okay.
yeah. That's
Dedicated.
if I'm nothing else, I'm consistent,
Yeah, of course.
dedicated, consistent, and I like what I like.
Well, and then did you see any similarities between your list and others that you follow on social media that posted?
No.
Really?
No, not even close. Even
Yeah.
like really good friends. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've got a couple of friends that are also pretty high on the White Buffalo, but not quite at the same level. But it's crazy it's so interesting to see the disparity between, people that have their lists all filled with new stuff, with just classic stuff, I mean, I know everybody kind of bitches and grumbles about them being there, but I kind of have fun looking through everybody else's.
I mean, it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting way to read data for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to see mine, but YouTube has not released their version of it, which is not as
But
extensive.
they do. Okay.
They do a playlist.
Okay.
They give you so last year was my 2020 year in review.
Yeah.
And I think it's a playlist of 100 songs that you listen
and that's
to
the same.
most.
You get 100.
Right, but you actually get like detailed stats on your top 5 and minutes listened, right?
Number of spins, like whatever
Right.
song it was that you listened to the most,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get that number.
I don't expect that information for me.
Yeah. Which is kind of fun to look and see.
I'm curious. I'm curious because it has been an insane year for music exploration.
Will it give you your total hours streamed?
I don't know about that. I don't think so.
Okay.
I will let you know.
That's an interesting number.
Yeah. I'd love to see that because I do know that I've definitely streamed more podcast hours than
And do
music.
you sleep with noise or music
Not
going?
music, podcasts.
Podcasts.
Yeah, always since I've been listening to podcasts to go to sleep since. I want to say 2005
Does that speak well for the podcast?
for ours.
For any?
Well,
Patrick's using this to go to sleep right now.
It's so funny. I used to listen to because I always grew up with the sleep button on my radio. I had a radio on my bedside table. I remember going to sleep to like Leafs games.
Yeah.
So I was really young. That's why I was going to bed super early. But and then it morphed into actually having an Apple earbud in my ear, going to sleep listening to the early version of the Ricky Gervais show, which some will argue was one of the first podcasts. And then ever since then it's been podcasts.
And then what do you do in the morning? Like, because obviously it's something you're not just going to fall asleep right at the end of it. You're
30-minute sleep timer. So your podcast shuts off at 30 minutes, and you know that you've at least you've missed, I don't know, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And
then you'll go back and listen the following morning or
just go
whatever.
back. Go back. Yeah. Like
Interesting.
lately, it's funny. Lately, I've been listening to Talkin' Sopranos, which is Michael Imperioli and Steve Shrippa, who played 2 pretty major characters on The Sopranos. Spent the last, I'd say, year and a half, maybe close to 2 years, going through every single episode of The Sopranos, and not like, let's talk about the episode, like every scene. Like they have the scripts, they go through every single scene and talk about the show from that perspective, which has been very cool. So,
Yeah,
but
that's
unfortunately, that's coming to an end. So
They've gone through.
I think they
hit
have
the end.
3 episodes left.
Okay. But that's pretty much every show is doing that now, right? There's a podcast. Like I think like The Office has a recap show. You and I both listen to The Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but the Sunny one is weird because they're not actually really spending too much
They
time
bring up
talking
the
about
episode that they watched, and then they get off
think-
on something else completely.
It's tough though. It's only been 3 weeks. I
Yeah.
think they're only on episode 5, which I watched the first 3 last night. But I kind of wonder if they're just embarrassed about the first season, and that's why they're not talking about it too much. You know what I mean?
It was pretty slapped together.
I was watching it last night, watching those first 3 episodes, and it's so old.
Yeah.
And like the budget was just nothing.
And I think you'll hear a lot of people on that show specifically say, once Danny DeVito comes in, it kind of, and it does, it goes to another level once DeVito gets involved.
I did feel watching those first 3 that some of them just weren't sure exactly what their roles were.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Still funny as hell.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's interesting. Because both my kids, like when I get my Wrapped, and I'm around the 30,000 hours mark for music, which I think is in the top 75%.
30,000 hours
a year. Yeah.
Wow.
Which to me, I'm like, that's.
Do you sleep? Do you
fair
go
amount.
to sleep listening
But
to
I
music?
don't. So both my boys. I haven't seen where my daughter's is at this year, but both my boys are well over 100,000.
Holy shit! So you're
But
rookie numbers.
I'm rookie numbers, but they have it on when they sleep.
Oh, okay.
And I used to when I was a kid. I always had music to
Yeah.
fall asleep. And then my once I got married, my wife didn't really appreciate that very much.
Man, I'm telling you, like you got to figure out. I had to buy wireless earbuds.
Yeah.
So I could solve that issue. My dad always had a pillow speaker. Do you ever have one of those?
No.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That little like disc speaker that you put under your pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
You don't want to fall asleep to your own thoughts. Who wants to
No,
do that?
you definitely don't want to do that. And never go to sleep.
You got to find a way around that shit. So yeah, you compared your Spotify Wrapped with 2 of your kids.
Yeah.
And any similarities?
No. I'm just trying to think of what Zach had. Somebody named Young Gravy.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
You know Young Gravy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Post Malone, I think, was his number 1.
Which I don't think Post Malone really put anything out this year.
No, I don't think so.
That's cool.
And then Ethan, my oldest, I can't remember what his was this year, but I think last year it was Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Which it wasn't quite what you would expect.
Did you ever go through a Sinatra phase?
I never did go through a Sinatra phase. No.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff there, and then I think there's a whole lot of just whatever.
Yeah. I think the known stuff I could probably go through, but yeah, I don't know. Young Gravy was a weird one. My youngest is a big fan of Grandson.
Right.
So while Grandson didn't make my top 5 list, he'd be up there as well.
And he didn't put a full record out this year. Right? It's been a year, I think, like the other day. Now, I like going through year-end lists. I do like seeing Pitchfork, Exclaim, Consequence, There's a bunch of them. I'll definitely pay attention to their lists. And for the most part, usually they're around the same. But I don't like the concept of like hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have you ever been asked by someone, like people ask me all the time, what's your favorite band or what's your favorite album? I think that's an impossible answer.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at the last few years of your Spotify Wrapped, I think we might know the current answer for you. But is that something you've ever felt compelled to answer? Like, well, hey, Pete, what was your favorite album of 2021?
No, because it changes every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. At least every couple of weeks, I feel.
100%.
Yeah.
And something that honestly, like one of my top 5s was the new 21 Pilots album.
Right.
Which we'll get into. There'll be a lot of eye rolls, I'm sure, once we go through a few. But I love that. I listened to the shit out of that until July.
Yeah.
And I probably haven't listened to it a bunch since then. But it still shows up on the list because
you put so much into it
I
to
put
begin
quite a
with.
bit in it, yeah.
Okay, so like you got White Buffalo, you got you said Grandson should have made it on there.
We're gonna get into this, are we?
Well, we don't have to. You can be a little vague.
I don't care. It's honestly, it's one of the things that I love the most about our dynamic. I'm a very mainstream guy, right? So a lot of my stuff is going to be mainstream. Yours is going to be a lot more on the other side. So yes, some may want to make fun of this a little bit here and there. White Buffalo is number 1. Number 2 was
you said the Beatles.
The Beatles,
no? Right? Now, why is that?
And the Beatles is always consistently up there as well, and that was definitely, obviously, well before they get back.
So always,
phenomenon.
Every year you'd say they're at least in that top 5, 10?
The Beatles have been in my top 5. White Buffalo has been number 1 consistently for at least the last 4 years. The Beatles are always somewhere in that top 5. The Tragically Hip is usually somewhere in that top 5.
Were they this year?
They were number 3 this year.
Oh, wow, okay.
So yeah, White Buffalo, Beatles, Tragically Hip, and then this one's a really interesting one I found is Sky Wallace.
Right. Yes.
Which I do know there's a lot of the artists that we've had on are definitely higher up on my list because I will stream them quite a bit as we're leading up to and getting ready for an interview. But with that Sky Wallace album in particular, it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
Which I listened to then, but again, same thing. Listened to it, loved it, and then it just kind of didn't come back into rotation. So I was really glad that we had her on the podcast, and I got back into that album again, and I guess went pretty hard.
Yeah, it makes me sad that we never actually got to see that show.
Yeah, very
with
sad.
her in Crownlands.
And there was also talk of new music that hasn't.
Right, yes.
Pretty much every Thursday when the new release radar comes out, I'm like, Sky Wallace?
Well, they are doing tour. They're doing shows right now.
They're playing shows, yeah.
Okay, interesting. Sky Wallace, which is pretty cool. I don't remember seeing her post about the Spotify Wrap the other day.
No, I don't think I've seen her do anything.
But like, I don't know. There's nothing to be embarrassed about because at the end of the day, you are supporting these musicians as much as you can. It doesn't mean Spotify is supporting them at all. Like, fuck all.
Very little, which I feel bad for those artists too, because we all know the position that they're in and how little it does for them financially.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the flip side is hopefully it's going to have a bigger build the fan base.
Yeah.
So that when touring does return, that they will eventually.
And people buy merch and
buy the merch and all that kind of stuff. But you do see so many bands that do share their stats at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Which is both good. You look at it and go, holy shit, that's awesome. They got 22.1 million, whatever, and then you think they made $1.25 off of that.
Yeah,
which is sad.
It's crazy. I mean, I wish we had an actual. It would be sweet if all the bands were just being transparent like that. And hey, this was our 2021. We appreciate you listening, but just so you know, 32.5 million streams, and then like I'd love to see an actual invoice.
Right.
It'd be sick. They got to go on strike. I'm telling you. Just don't put out music for a whole year.
That's it. Just shut her down.
Just don't put out music for a whole year. Anyways, it did Dan Mangan had made a point about it on Instagram because there was definitely a lot of negative feedback to Spotify this week, which I love. I'm in full support of that. But he did make a good point in that as much as we want to basically, discredit the work that Spotify does, and he referred to it as stats porn. I just have the post here, which, it's a very good point. It is stats porn. But the fact that you can, and Dan had 6.7 million streams, over 1.3 million listeners, regardless of his paycheck or not, that's amazing.
Yep.
That's an incredible stat or chunk of data to have as an artist, and you can't not be thankful for that, right?
You have to be.
So it's a tough spot.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know what the response is, what the answer is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Because again, let's say whatever happens and the Spotifys and the Apple Musics of the world do get shut down. Well, what's going to happen when we see already how people don't want to pay for music? It's something else like an Napster or whatever is just going to fire back up again.
It'd be sweet if there's a way for you to take your whatever Spotify is like $14.99 a month or whatever for a family plan or some shit like that. It'd be sweet if they made it possible for, like, you're already paying for the service. Take that money and be able to actually decide where it goes to, who it goes to every month. Like a Twitch subscription, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you have one free subscription a month, right? That's a $5 sub. You can decide who that goes to. It can go to as many different people for as many months there are in a year. It would be sweet if you could take, 75% of that money and just decide where it goes to. Might be an idea.
That is an idea. Yeah, it'd be the same as, so you're paying your $15 a month, and you can decide of that 15, whatever Spotify gets its percentage, but then you pick which artists get.
Yeah, or Spotify doesn't get its percentage because your $15 a month is not, like, that's not their fucking bread and butter, right? Is it not the advertising?
Well, that would definitely be a big part of it as well. I don't know what the stats are between, like the paid subscribers, as opposed to the free that get the ads.
Yeah,
I don't know where the bigger
at the end of the day,
where's the bigger slice of the pie coming from? Is it coming from subscribers or is it coming from the advertisers?
It must be. I mean, you're right. Like your $15 is not going to break Spotify at the end of the month if it's actually only $5.
Oh, 100%.
So, anyways, maybe we should start our own streaming service. Just ensure that no one dares put their monthly sub money to the podcast. Because we already started this show saying we don't want money, right?
We just want the likes and the subscribes. Yeah, sure.
Exactly.
Okay, well, so you don't have a list quite like the Spotify
I don't.
list. The one thing I think that we probably have in common, and we talked a little bit about, is the new Jack White, which you said you haven't listened to much since it came out.
I haven't. It's funny. Every week I'll listen to the new music and I'll throw some likes on the songs that I want to re-listen to because then it just throws it on a playlist automatically. And the thing that I've experienced lately is that that playlist is growing and growing more every week. And how far back into that playlist am I going?
Right.
So Jack White's song would have been liked 2 months ago now?
Yeah.
I'm not. There's 25 songs between today and that song. So no, I haven't been obsessing over it as much as I thought I would, but I did go through a lot of my albums that I listened to a lot this year, and it's pretty varied. I don't know, man. Like, were there any albums that you wanted to mention specifically? I got movie soundtracks. I got rap. It's all over the board.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, album-wise, and I am, like, as I look at my most spun tunes, it is all mostly new music that came out this year. Like, I do have, like, Let It Be as in my top 10 most streamed tunes, which is really weird because that's well before the documentary came out and not my favorite Beatles tune.
Interesting.
Which was very strange. But I think as far as album goes, like I mentioned, that 21 Pilots album came out in, I think, May.
What's it called? Fire and Ice or something?
Scaled and Icy. Scaled and Ice. And it's pretty dancey. It's pretty poppy. But for whatever reason,
you've seen them a couple times.
I've seen them a couple of times. So I love the show and I love what they do. Black Pistol Fire. I think that album came out in February.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I think,
which got a lot of spins as well. One of the big ones that I just binged hard on was that Boy Golden album, which came out, I think, in July.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a ton of Boy Golden that shows up in my top 20 spins.
I got a couple podcasts, like the Zolas Come Back to Life, I've listened to a lot. I would not be surprised if that shows up on my year-end list, because I do go back to that album every few weeks, it seems.
Yeah.
And then that Cadence Weapon album, which I think was also a July release, I've listened to a shit ton. And then the OBGMs, who we're hoping to get on the podcast, kind of a Toronto punk band, they were also nominated for a Polaris Music Prize, competing with Cadence Weapon. They didn't win, but their album, The Ends, came out last year. It was last October 2020, I think. It's definitely 2020. I listened to that a lot lately, but that was pretty recently, just in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know if it would be the difference in our age or what the deal is, but so you're consuming like a ton, right? Whereas I'll gravitate. I'll find a few that I like, and then that's kind of where I live.
Yeah, I mean, it depends.
I was just thinking of one that, because everybody here at the studio was talking about it forever, and then it just kind of died off quick, was that Turnstile album was, and I still go through that pretty regularly.
The full album?
The full album.
Yeah. So that is on my list for sure. I haven't listened to it in a few weeks. I really like the record, but the whole record wasn't as perfect to me as the initial EP.
Right. Yep.
So the EP
That's
is
fair.
4 or 5 tracks that are on the full length. I really like the album, but that EP was just so perfect to me. And the fact that it wasn't even in order like the EP on the album was like, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, I love the record. I think it's great. It's definitely on my top of the year collection, which at this point is fucking like 15 records. But yeah, no, we definitely died off. The hype on that definitely died off a little bit. I think Idol's Record Crawler came out a month ago, which I've been probably spun about 20, 25 times, something like that. So I'm pretty hooked on that. But it's also a band that sometimes when they put out new music, it takes me a few listens to really appreciate it. And I definitely felt that way with this one. Yeah, Turnstile, Every Time I Die, Radical. The trouble I had with that one, I think it's amazing, but the first like 4 or 5 songs had been out for like a year, it felt. Like so long. So
it's funny. I had a discussion with my oldest on that this week, actually.
Yeah.
Was that he hates when they release so many songs before the album comes out.
Yeah.
He'd rather just have 1 or 2 and then just...
Well, yeah, because like you put on that record and you've
already
heard the first 4 songs, however many times you've listened to them in the last 3 to 12 months. And what do? You sit there and listen to those songs again? Or you want to hear the new?
Yeah.
You want to hear what you're not familiar with. So at that point, are you even listening to the full album? I don't know. Debatable. But that album...
and what Every Time I Die was just in the news for something else, were they not? What?
Yeah.
Is that... Okay, don't get into that? All right.
I don't know what's going on. Some weird drama.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what happened?
No, you know what? Again, I read through it, but it didn't stick.
Quickly, they had 3 shows left on their tour.
Yeah.
And then they've got their big annual Christmas show in a couple weeks in Buffalo. The band announced that Keith, the singer, needed some space, some time to recover. This is his first tour sober, I believe, without drinking. You know, he's a different guy. He's a refreshed man. He's living in an RV with a new girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And they announced that he needed some time to, recoup and make sure his mental health is in check, and that they were going to do those last 3 shows without a vocalist, without Keith, which they have done in the past. It has happened. And then that statement resulted in him taking to Instagram and Twitter and his patron Discord to say that his brother, who's a guitarist in the band, is emotionally and physically and mentally abusive. He overheard his brother saying that they're going to replace him. A fucking mess. And now they've taken that statement down. They're like, "Hey, we apologize. That statement."
So that wasn't his. That wasn't his. That was a band statement that said he was taking the time.
Yeah,
it didn't come from him.
But he had already said he needs the 3 days off, and maybe he expected them to also take those 3 shows off, which I think is maybe kind of unreasonable. Anyways, it's a lot of speculation. We shouldn't get into it anymore. But it's a damn shame to see that laundry aired in front of everyone.
Yeah, interesting.
Sucks. But yeah, anyways, I've listened to the shit out of that record. Amyl and the Sniffers. Pretty sick Australian punk band. They put their record Comfort to Me out a couple months ago, and that's like a real bash you over the head kind of record. It's a lot of fun. And the Deaf Heaven record, Infinite Granite, which I've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. For rap, I was pretty obsessed with the Tyler, the Creator record, which we talked about already. And then there's this sweet kind of R&B singer out of Toronto called Charlotte Day Wilson, who put out this record called Alpha, and she just released a deluxe version like last week. Really, really cool stuff, and working with some very cool musicians in Canada like Bad Bad Not Good and Daniel Caesar. And then movie soundtracks. Now, have we talked about your take on movie soundtracks?
I don't even think I could. I don't know if
it's not something you listen to, right?
No.
Ever?
Like as in like a score or like an actual.
I don't think it matters. Do you have any movie soundtracks at home, CD or vinyl?
100%, but nothing recent. I wouldn't think.
Like, what are we talking? Like, what do you have for? Like, do you have a John Williams CD or vinyl?
Yeah, there'd be John Williams stuff in there for sure. Okay. But like, I mean, it's unfortunate. The first one that pops in my head is a Forrest Gump soundtrack, just because it had a wide compilation, swath of tunes. But Forrest Gump for sure.
That's like a greatest hits record.
It's very much a greatest hits record. And yeah, it would just be movies that like Dumb and Dumber is my favorite movie. So the soundtrack.
What is the soundtrack for Dumb and Dumber?
That's got
like songs?
All the songs that were in the movie. Yeah.
Here we weren't doing like big orchestral scores.
No. But if we're talking scores, John Williams stuff is probably about all I think I would probably have.
Right. I saw Dune a couple weeks ago, and I've listened to the soundtrack to that quite a bit. That's a Hans Zimmer, which he's come up a lot on the podcast. Yep. Not as gripping as like his Chris Nolan movies or anything, but still pretty dynamic and very cool to see.
But that again, so you're talking more orchestral scores than anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, for those albums or those movie soundtracks that aren't OSTs, like original soundtracks with scores and composition, I don't think anything beats a Quentin Tarantino movie soundtrack to me.
No, you're probably
because those are straight up just like banging fucking mixtapes.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
And then you get the imagery of what, you take like Steelers Wheel Stuck in the Middle.
Yes.
Which is a great song.
And he usually pipes in like, I think it's Pulp Fiction is when, who's the comedian? That really deadpan comedian. I think maybe it's Reservoir Dogs as he's doing radio bits in between some of the songs. Right. Steve something, I think.
Is it Stephen Wright?
Stephen Wright. Yeah. He's doing a killer, deadpan radio guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Quentin Tarantino, so good. Him and Scorsese do some pretty good compilations like that.
I will, as far as and the movie isn't out yet, but the use of Nirvana's Something in the Way in that Batman trailer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'll be. And it's funny because I don't think that song will actually be in the movie.
Probably not.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
But so movie soundtracks were big for me as Hans Zimmer and this 1-0-Tricks Point Never guy I got really into this year because he does a bunch of he did like that. Did you ever watch the Adam Sandler movie Uncut Gems?
No, but I should because I really should because
for a guy that shits on Adam Sandler.
I was just
gonna
say
long,
if you're saying it's
I love it.
Yeah. I haven't. I couldn't tell you the last Adam Sandler movie I watched, but I should do Uncut Gems, and I know you love the hell out of that.
I mean, it's not. It's definitely not everyone's. I when I was back home visiting my mom and my brother in Ontario in the summer, we had a little mini film festival at night. We'd just hunker down at 10 p.m. People are going to bed and just watch a movie.
Yeah.
I showed him this movie, and it is 2 hours of just anxious tension. It's very, very, very critical that you understand that before you get into it. And I tried to make that clear, but we finished the movie, and I remember him just standing up and being like, fuck you. Why'd you do that? Why'd you put me through that?
Wow.
So Anyways,
Okay,
you've been warned.
I'm gonna go through that.
You've been warned.
Where are you finding most of this stuff? Like, is it so you go through your YouTube recommended? Like, so Spotify has the release radar, so every week I get the update of whatever's new, tailored to.
Yeah.
Typically, what I listen to is YouTube got the same.
Yeah, I go through that playlist every Friday. Usually it sucks.
Yeah.
Like usually it's like 90% really stuff I don't care about.
Do you think you would ever get to a point where you're not doing that, where you don't look forward to Friday to see what's new and see what's...
It's weird because, like, for the last few years, what I realized, and I don't know how to properly word this, but what I realized is that my scope of new music was very refined to a certain spectrum based on charts that we have access to and media services that most people don't have access to, right? Like where radio stations get their music from.
Right.
So because of that, I wasn't paying attention to certain labels that don't really make those pushes or those decisions or attempts at it. So yeah, it is when I looked at it over the last year, I realized how distant those two worlds are really. It's quite shocking actually.
And more people need their eyes open that there is that other world out there, I think.
Yeah, but it's like a weird thing where I haven't exactly figured out whose hands are tied where.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like if certain labels, like there's this killer record from this New York band called Gustav that I listened to a lot this year. And they're signed to Royal Mountain. We like a lot of Royal Mountain Records bands. But like that band, like it's not even the question of, hey, should we maybe try to get radio stations to play the song? Like it would. I just don't think it's a conversation. I think that that conversation doesn't exist in that world. And whose fault is that, and how do you fix it? And does it need to be fixed?
Yeah, or have they...
White Buffalo is a great example, man. Right? White Buffalo has had some serious commercial success because of film and television.
Yeah.
But never... We were the first people to play his fucking song in probably the whole country, right?
Yeah.
In the last year, a year ago?
He jokes, there's one song that he's got that he jokes, when he's playing in the U.S., he's like, oh, this was a top 5 hit in Canada, thanks to Canadian radio.
And you're like, me!
I'm like, wait a minute. I think we were the only one.
And you know what sucks is that we didn't play it because you are in the top 0.05% of White Buffalo fans. We played it because it was a good song.
Right.
But no one else did.
And that doesn't necessarily happen that much anymore. So I honestly, I wouldn't blame a lot of those record companies for not having that as the plan of the attack.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are so many other avenues open now, and that's not to diminish what radio means and what radio
of
can
course
do.
Not. Of course not.
But there are so many different avenues to go down now.
Like, it's like when we talked to Mother, God, what's his name? Ryan Goldenmont. When we talked to him, and he's talking about, they're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Oh My Heart.
Just did, yeah.
Yeah. And 10 years later, this kind of wacky, eclectic song has popped off because people are finally hearing it. It's like, I don't know. There's so many weird roads and different highways and disconnects that it's confusing me more than it did before.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's fine.
One of the other reasons I brought that up, though, too, is I was just reading something the other day about at what age people stop caring about or searching for new music.
Yeah.
And I think we're on a different very end of the spectrum, obviously, as, pretty passionate music fans. But do you know what the average age most people start tuning out of new music is?
If I could guess,
I bet you it's older than you think. Maybe.
33.
Oh, so you read the same article.
Is it actually? 33?
Yeah, 33.
Oh, my God. Hell yeah. That was fucking sick. That doesn't surprise me. And it's funny because when you say that number, 33 people stop caring about new music. All right, that's fine. They've got, we'll say, 25 max years of music discovery themselves. They were probably 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever when they started making their own decisions with music. You've got a couple decades plus of music interests.
Mm-hmm.
Very specific to you.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, family, jobs, whatever. It all gets in the way. But the difference with I think us is that we still appreciate going to shows. And a lot of shows are new bands.
Very true. Yeah.
Or bands trying to make it, right? So, yeah, I think that might be part of the reason that it separates us from that 33 gap. But
I can remember being that young guy in radio and having bands release songs on a certain day and being like, we gotta play this now. And I remember the program director at the time being like, no, people just aren't as into it as you are.
Yeah.
And there's bills and there's kids and there's schedules and all that. And I'm like, bullshit. Like, no.
Yeah.
We can't wait 2 weeks to play that song. That's old news by then.
Yeah.
And I still kind of subscribe to that. But I've seen the other side too. I see how busy life gets.
Yeah, but we did have the opportunity to do that anyways with the drive in Red Deer, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Which was, oh, holy shit, this band is putting out a song tomorrow, and God damn it, we're going to play
I'll go into the station at midnight and download it and put it into the system, so we've got it right away.
I remember.
How many people actually cared? I don't know.
Yeah, like, remember when that Arkell song came out?
Yeah.
They're like, hey, so can you play the song, and then we'll do a 2-minute interview, and then play the song again?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all right,
yeah,
sure.
Very smart way of getting some extra spins to make sure that
I guess so. I've never heard of that before, but
that was an evening. Yeah, it was like a 7 or 8 o'clock at night thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Because or maybe it was 10 p.m.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah.
Maybe it was a 10 p.m. thing because I think I remember sticking around. Anyways, yeah, it's a weird music discovery. Is such a weird thing that at the end of the day, you have to realize most people aren't into it as much as you are.
I did it. It just came up on my. I had a Facebook memory of it. I think today or yesterday, and my dad had sent me a message on Facebook or tagged me in it 5 years ago. But hey, have you heard of this band? Go check out my Twitter. I've got a link there for it. He would have been 64.
Whoa.
At the time. I don't remember checking it out when he told me to, but I did actually yesterday or today, whatever it was. I went and listened. There's a band called Shovels and Rope.
No, never heard of them.
Never heard of it? Yeah, it's a very Americana. My dad kind of leaned that way, but we've had this talk before. Yep. My dad long stayed into the cool shit, well past his prime.
For sure.
Listening years, for sure.
Shovels and
Rope. The song was called Boxcar. Very Americana, very roots.
Yeah. Which is, you need people like that. We just had a band in here yesterday that you're going to see the video of in the next few weeks. But, it's such a weird part of the music genre.
It's not going to be a part of somebody's mainstream day-to-day listening, but it is something that you absolutely have to hear and will catch your ear.
Yeah.
And even if just for those moments, fuck, this is cool.
And your brain will rewire itself after you've heard it and paid attention to
Definitely.
it. You will hear things that you never thought possible.
Yeah.
And that is one of the beautiful things of Communal Creative Studios, not just what we're trying to do with the Road the Stage, but with CCS here in Red Deer is providing content for bands like that who have so much fucking talent. Like, you can smell it in the room. Like yesterday, you and I were walking around. Am I in the way here? Yes. Okay. Am I in the way here?
Like such a tornado of activity. How many people in the band was it? Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
We had 8 or 9 here today. I think the band is 9, but they didn't. They were missing one percussionist. Right. So we had 8. I guess it was 8 yesterday.
Plus the 4 of us, so 12 people in the room.
And they set up and they played a couple songs and then they were gone.
And then gone. Like, I would have thought,
professionals.
This is going to take 6 hours to set all of this up. And anyways, my favorite part of the whole day, the band was so amazing, but my favorite part was just the reaction from the 4 of us who've seen some things, all pretty much jaw dropped.
Yeah, seen a lot of things, seen a lot of different kind of genres and musical performances, seen things like that before. But when you're that close to it, in such a weird time crunch and a schedule that you're just observing, fuck.
Hot damn, how's that for a tease of a future project? Huh?
Yeah, get to work, boys. Anyways, that will come out soon, and so will a ton of extra content. And hey, if you want to share your favorite songs or albums or bands of the year, we're always looking for we're always looking for
new stuff. We'll listen to anything.
Totally. Send them our way. theroadthestage@gmail.com. The Road the Stage across every goddamn social media platform except for TikTok and Vine at this point.
Do we have a MySpace?
We should.
Yeah, I think it's there.
We should get a MySpace, us and Boy Golden.
Let's do a shout out to
some friends of the show.
Tourism Red Deer.
Go Services Inc. What's up?
Sawback Brewery. And Bo's Barn Stage.
Bo's Barn Stage, who, by the way, announced a show this week. That is truly unprecedented in Red Deer.
Yeah.
Almost unprecedented in Alberta.
When you go and look at the other venues that this band is playing.
Yeah. Future Islands.
And compare to size-wise.
Yeah.
What capacities would be. This is pretty special.
Yeah, it's I mean I got to assume this is a show that fans of Future Islands in Calgary and Edmonton will be seeing 2 shows.
100%.
And one of those shows will be in Red Deer.
Yeah.
And that's why that show's almost sold out. So sucks to be you if you didn't get a ticket.
And more on the way.
So check that out. Support, music however you can, even if it means streaming from Spotify for 30,000 hours?
Pretty close.
300 hours?
30,000. Yeah.
300?
3,000 times.
Anyways, it's been a fun year of music exploration, and that will continue on the road stage. And you and I are going to go listen to some Christmas music now, right?
And when does the road the stage continue?
On Wednesdays.
The Road the Stage is produced by Ryan Kuly and Ryley Surian at the Communal Creative Studios in Red Deer, Alberta. In partnership with Go Services Inc., Sawback Brewing Co., Tourism Red Deer, and Beau's Bar and Stage.